Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the bronze final of the Cape Town Sevens. Now, it looks very familiar, and that is because we saw it just last week take place for the Dubai Sevens, where it was France versus Fiji. These two sides now rematching, and theoretically, with how the table sits at the moment, if Fiji were to win this game, they actually have potential of being the top out of any side at the end of this round. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all for the Fijians, it is Josefa Talatholo, also Seven Mothanotangi. They have got Vakadranu moving into the starting lineup. He hasn't had a huge amount of minutes throughout the last little while. Taria Vailawa, Vuiviwa Nadovalo, George Balsi, and also Sanila, the last man. In the starting side for the French, it is Liam Delamere, almost got himself in trouble in the last match after dropping a South African right on his head. Dabo, Andy Timo, Pauline Riva, Stephen Perez-Martin, Miranda, and also Simon Dzay. He made his way off the bench last game. No Zadar, no Arto. They are both out, but Jordan Sefo, a very handy player to have making his way off of the bench. And at this contest, but do let me know, of course, who you guys think will win this game. We have got two finals just around the corner. The men's side, it is the latest game that has taken place for Cape Town. That'll be South Africa versus Argentina. For the women's matchup, it is New Zealand versus Australia yet again, just like we saw last week. And at Dubai, we have got Alo Seznov welcome in. Jeremiah Matana leading his side out onto the field for the Fijians, although he is not actually in the starting lineup for this match. Instead, will be making his way off of the bench later on. Fiji, a little bit of an up and down roller coaster in Cape Town. Started off with a loss, then got themselves 2 wins, and then lost again in that semi-final just recently. For the French, they have gone win-loss, win-loss, so they are a bit the same. 2 wins, 2 losses for these sides. George Selwood will be the referee in charge as we get ready to go for yet again another contest. But Cape Town, it looks like it is still extremely warm, so I would say it's mid-30s, maybe a little bit closer to the 30 than the 35 at this point in time, but it is going to be hot out there on the park. All these sides will be grateful that they're only playing 2 matches rather than 3, because if they're playing 3, they would have been well and truly cooking out there on the park. But this third place game, France kicking this one off from left to right, get us underway for another match of the Cape Town Sevens. Taria Vailawa, he hasn't started too often throughout this Sevens competition, but he has been able to bring impact off the bench anytime he gets that opportunity. Nice take off the kickoff by Josefa Talatholo, gets the offload on the outside to Sakiosa Sanila. And that one, once again, just a little bit loose from Fiji. That is something that happened quite often throughout that game up against the Argentines. They weren't quite gelling. They had handling errors, Fiji, that they hadn't been having throughout the rest of their contest. Definitely not the game prior up against New Zealand, winning at 35 points to 5. Vakadranu on back across to the right-hand side. Ball in the hands of Seven Mothanotangi. Offload to Sanila. Going backwards at the moment, but gets through the tackle attempt to Liam Delamere. Looks for the offload on the outside. Finds the hands of Talatholo, but it's called as a forward pass. So we'll now give France the attacking opportunity from just outside of Fiji's 22. In fact, it may be just inside of that Fijian 22 by the looks of it. So a prime position for the French. See whether or not they can get something going here. They've got Stephen Perez-Martin will be feeding that ball in. Andy Timo up the front. He was very fired up last leg in the Dubai Sevens. Ball's fed in. Nice scrum. Comes out the back for Stephen Perez-Martin. Now Pauline Riva moves it on one more. Now finding the hands of the winger and Simon Dzay. It kind of looked like he threw the ball at the line there, but I think it's going to be a try. Maybe. I don't know. He doesn't look confident at this stage for Simon Dzay. Definitely looked like the ball was dislodged at some point. Oh, I think he's just about lost that as he's gone for the grounding, so it is going to be no try there for Simon Dzay. Disappointed with that. He actually got over the try line. It was just the way he was holding on to the ball made it a little bit awkward to try and put it down. And it's going to keep the score at 0-0 between these two sides after the first 2 minutes of the contest. Now scrum feed for the Fijians. They are just 5 metres out from their own line. 4 of these teams' 5 meetings in Cape Town have been decided by 5 points or less. As the stat that has just popped up on the screen, they are 4 and 3 when it comes to the rankings at this point in time. Question is more so, will we get a repeat of what we saw last week, or will we see something completely different and see a French upset win? They come in as underdogs heading into this contest. Wide cut-out pass from the Fijians. Nice step there from Nadovalo. Scored a lot of tries throughout this competition. Now sling and pass from Taria Vailawa. This looks bad. At the moment, one of the Fijian players is down. Looks like George Balsi, and unfortunately for Fiji, when you play with 6 players, it can end up bad. And Andy Timo manages to score it here for France as they take the lead. I think they've just said there that maybe they were thinking about stopping it, but as we can see there, the player was down, George Balsi. He was not moving. It looks like some sort of knee injury for him. And Andy Timo, tell you what, never actually grounded that Andy Timo up until maybe when he was getting up. Looked like he tried to ground it, but actually grounded it on his wrist. But Pauline Riva does kick this one over, and that adds the additional 2 points for the French. So now sit here in the lead, 7 points to 0. Anyone else here? Says Jasmine, and yep, I am, and Jasmine says Cape Tonian in there as well. Yeah, I think a lot of people are anticipating that final. Plus, we've got to remember, for a lot of Fijians, when it came to that semi-finals, as soon as they saw that Fiji lost, they probably went to bed, seeing as it was going to be a 2:45 a.m. or so kickoff in Fiji for a Monday as well. That is a bit of a brutal time for a game of sevens. That one's going to be taken nicely by Taria Vailawa. Now back across to Josefa Talatholo. Seven Motha going on the outside. Now skip pass from Nadolvalo. Finds Manueli Maisamoa. He's on the field for Balsi to go off with that injury. Now Talatholo trying to dodge the referee, who has done extremely well to evade the tackle. Now Nadolvalo. Another offload on the outside. Almost like a football throw in there. All on the inside, Saniela goes on the outside now to Taria Vailawa, who moves up to the halfway line. Talamir, his defence has been found out throughout this competition, and it's a brilliant try for Taria Vailawa as he runs it around and scores again for Fiji. He has done it time and time again. And that is going to make the score now 7 points each. Once again, Fiji running it round, making it a nice, easy conversion. It is something that they have done, I think, almost better than any other side throughout the competition. And maybe that is just because of the fact that they just create so much space. When they get a line break, no one catches them. The Singapore Sevens should be at a more respectable hour for us in New Zealand. I think so, yeah. I think it's normally is it midday to early evening we normally have the Singapore Sevens? Did mark the ground as well with that one. I should mention, as soon as we see the results of this league, we will, because of the fact that there's only 8 teams, know exactly who is in each group for the next competition. It's pretty much 1, 3, 5, and 7 all play in one group, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, they are in the other. Or at least that's how it worked out for the first league, I assume that's what they're going to do every single time. Now going back across to the right-hand side, unless it's based off the overall standings, which I don't think it is. I think it's based off what happened the week prior. Now Seven Mothanothangi goes back across to Manueli Maisamoa, trying to find his way through this French defence that manages to just hang on to him. Josefa Talatholo receiving the pass now. Back over the top to Rio Vailawa. Another offload to Saniela. Pass is starting to flow a little bit more for the Fijians with the wide cutout pass to Vakadrano. Tackled by Andy Timo as well as Pauline Riva. It's going to be a high tackle penalty. Favour of Fiji. Sivamothano decides to take the quick tap. It's back away to the right-hand side. Nice cellular dummy from Voiviwa Nadovalo. He is through again. So dangerous the way that he's able to play. Hi lads, what's up? I got McDonald's. What did you get from McDonald's, Big Rig Joe? Do let me know. That is a great try from Voiviwa Nadovalo. And that'll give the Fijians now the lead in this contest. Once again, scoring between the posts. It'll make it 14 points to 7. That was a big old fend. Oh, and I believe it would have been Ali Dabo. Big Tasty. What is a Big Tasty? I don't know if they've got that here. With chips and a Diet Coke. What's a Big Tasty? I have to see on the New Zealand menu whether or not that's a thing. Go Fiji, go. Says Avakish. There as well, but 40 seconds remaining. We see there the Fijian women's side. They are celebrating a victory that they were able to get earlier on. It's like a premium Big Mac. Oh, is that the new one they've been advertising for a little while? So what is the difference between it and a Big Mac? Is it just like a little bit more special? I could eat a cheap Mac. Says DJ, imagine a Big Mac, but better and more expensive. So what's better about it though? Is it the beef that they use? Oh, that's going to be a great run from Andy Timo. Going to be hit hard in that challenge. And that was almost a knock-on the ground, although referee does say play on. Now Dabo trying to find his way through that as a hard collision offloaded beautifully from the French, going out wide to Delamere. And he scores the try. Not rugby related. Have you seen the Diddy documentary? I haven't, no. I've hardly seen, I don't know what the last documentary I watched was. Actually, it was probably Whistleblowers while I was on a plane. The one about the rugby referees. Geez, they get a hard time, don't they, referees? It's a thankless job. No third slice of bread, higher quality beef, patty and cheese. Okay, so it's the Big Mac minus the middle bun and just a little bit fancier. Is it any good compared to a Big Mac? Interesting. What's the doc called? Says Cape Townian. Now ready to kick this one. Trying to add the additional 2 points and does so. So that will make the score now 14-14 between these two sides at the halftime break. This one still could go absolutely either way for these two sides. And we have got the, oh no, I read that one about the, what's it called, from Cape Townian. Yeah, I don't even know what the last movie I watched was, but I know that it definitely wasn't a documentary because that was, I think it was last year that I watched a documentary. It's quite bad, isn't it? I feel like I should watch more. I might actually end up a bit smarter if I do such a thing. It was such a hard sentence, but it felt like it. I like it, although a valid question is if you're going to spend the extra money, why not just go somewhere better than McDonald's? I should watch Oppenheimer. It's great. Is that a series or a movie? I think it's a movie, isn't it? Oh, we have got there Certainly Cannot Be. And also, we have got there Sean Coombs' The Reckoning. And also, I was so hooked off the F1, I forgot Sevens was on. How's the game? Says Katzenell. Yeah, it's been decent so far. 50-50 in terms of who is going to go on to win this game. Isaac's been quite keen on his F1 recently. I know that he watched the qualifying before we went golfing yesterday morning. And then he'll probably end up watching the main race tomorrow morning, I guess, when he wakes up. And we have got there movie, says Big Rig, and about the guy who designed, built the atomic bomb. Interesting fella, says Big Rig. Now waiting for the second half to get underway. 2 tries so far scored by Fiji, Taria Valawa as well as Vuiviwa Nadovalo. The try scorers for France, Andy Timo as well as Liam Delamere. See some people in the hot tub as well. They are enjoying the atmosphere in Cape Town. We are 17 and a half minutes away from the women's final starting up. Oscar's leading, says Katzenell. And 50 minutes away from the men's final will be South Africa versus Argentina. Should be an absolutely incredible game. The last time that those two sides played was just last week, and Argentina actually won in that head-to-head. Now it's kicked off. Nicely taken by the French. They look to get something moving here. Joseph Talafolo, though, managing to shut him down big time. That one's not going anywhere, so it is going to become the scrum in favour of Fiji. I think Stephen Perez-Martin just asking whether or not, because it is off kickoff, whether they get the scrum fee, but it's going to be Fiji's instead. And Fiji seem to have lost a step today. They have actually, yeah, compared to what we saw yesterday from them. You know, we've got to remember their last game was up against New Zealand where they absolutely dominated in that contest. Toria Talawa will be the kingpin. He's honestly such an incredible player for Fiji. Like, every time he makes his way onto the field, it just seems like something happens. You know, he scores a try or he creates one for his side. Oh, he almost just made a tackle on his own teammate there. Sareli Mangwala. Now moving forward, offload from Vakadrano. Here comes Toria Vailawa. Beautiful pass on the inside. Sevu Muthanothangi scores it, and the assist for Vailawa pretty much just epitomising what we just said about his skill level. A one that fits up. No, says TJ. One that fits up the... Okay, I feel like I've well and truly missed the context of that. But Toria Vailawa, he had the pass on the outside option, sold the dummy, got rid of 2 defenders, and then popped it on the inside. Can anyone get VipRoad to stream? Says, Demi, you may not need it if you've got Rugby Pass TV as an option where you are in the world. Oh, that's a terrible kick. That's almost gone backwards for Fiji. So that will make the score 19 points to 14. Back to nice things like the rugby, says DJ there too. And yeah, after the 2 matches of the Sevens, I should mention we've got Toulouse versus the Sharks. And that's going to be a tough game for the Sharks, to be honest. Like, that one will not be one bit easy. All right, they're going back for a knock-on. 5 minutes now remaining on the clock. But, yeah, that could be a brutal scoreline for the Sharks because they are missing most of their Springboks. I think the only Springbok they've got is Makazole Mapimpi. And then if you're looking at each Springbok, someone like a Jaden Hendrickse is in there. But other than that, they've pretty much sent the Lambs to slaughter in that matchup. So hopefully they can at least keep it competitive, but it could also be an absolute slapping of the Sharks, sadly. Cool, I'll check it out, says Dimmy. And there, yeah. So depending on where you are in the world will depend on whether or not that is an option. Hopefully it is where you are. If you do have a VPN, you can set yourself to a country that does have it as an option as well, I should mention. Sharks feels weird to me because every time you say it, I think of the English team Sale Sharks. I wonder whether or not for the Australians, whether they think of the Cronulla Sharks as well, seeing as that is also a team. Now, oh, that's a hard shot on Te Rio Vailawa, but Fiji in possession. Seville Motha Nothangi thought about the offload, dragged down Stephen Perez Martin. He wanted the turnover in the breakdown. He's actually been cleaned out really hard. Te Rio Vailawa now dragged down just inside of the opposition half. Toulouse and Bordeaux are powerhouses, says Cape Tonian. Toulouse, I think, are the wealthiest rugby club, says DJ. And they have got Antoine Dupont making his way off of the bench in that contest. Rather than starting, Salah dummy from Te Rio Vailawa going up now to Jeremiah Matana on the short side. Not really going forward at the moment for Fiji. A little bit of a slip from Filippo Bucayaro. Now, Manueli Maisa-Moa, he is moving sideways. Thought about the offload. Shuts down Liam Delamere, who misses another tackle. He's had a mirror on defence at this stage, as every try that Fiji seem to try and score down his wing, they do, because they just break through him. That's something that he will definitely have to work on if he is going to stay as one of the guys who start for France in the Sevens future, because, you know, this is probably the second or third try that has been scored by breaking through a Liam Delamere tackle attempt. It just goes on the inside, knocks him down, and then from there just runs down the wing. Manueli Maisa-Moa. Oh, the rivals of my team, Bath, says Big Rig, for the Sale Sharks. And also if Fiji wins this, what will there be, or what will be their points? So they received 16 for coming third in Dubai. They'll receive another 16 for coming third here, so they'll be up to 32 points. Now, South Africa got themselves fifth, so they got 12 points from the last leg. So if they were to win, they would actually end up being tied for points with Fiji. That one hasn't gone the 10 metres. So back to the halfway line for the French, but currently down by the 12 points at this point in time. Racing 92 and Stade Francais were decent back in the day. And Fiji love being third, it seems. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, last year it almost won them the whole Sevens competition, didn't it? By just consistently being up there and not really losing that consistency. But they'd love to get a few more golds in the cabinet. Now, Andy Timo. Could again, 2 minutes remaining on the clock at this point in time. From windy, cloudy Cape Town. Is it still really hot there, Roof? Because at the moment, I believe they mentioned about it before that it was a mid-30s. That's a great run down the wing from Dezay. Oh, little bit of a late clean out there from Te Rio Vailawa. Possibly not necessary, but that's going to be another try for France. This game's actually not over, by the way. 7 points difference at the moment with a kick to come for the French. 90 seconds remaining on the clock. There might be a late little bit of a switch here if Fiji are not careful. Just using that pace, Simon Dezay, he had that try disallowed earlier on. That one has missed away to the side, which does mean that France need a converted try here to be able to get themselves a golden point opportunity. And if they were to do so, of course, that would drop the Fijians potentially out of first equal the overall standings. Just talking about 10 seconds remaining on the clock. That is nicely taken. Or sorry, 60 seconds remaining, I should say. That is going to be the penalty going the way of Fiji. I will mention New Zealand actually managed to win the 5th place playoff game as well up against GB. So they got themselves, that will be the total of 12 points. So that then means that they are also on 32. I think we're going to have a three-way tie for top place going into the third leg. Close to 27 degrees, but CBD area is usually hotter. Says Cape Townian. I'm watching Saints versus Power on TV. It's close at the moment from what I've seen, isn't it? Yeah, 14-12. Says the score there. Now going back across to Rio Vailawa. Minimally, my Samoa, 20 seconds remaining. Fiji have decided rather than taking the risk of trying to play it out from inside of their own half, they are going to still look to score another try. Looking for the risky offload there, Fiji. Breaking down the wing for Taria Vailawa. Bit of a counter-ruck from the French. Now Nadovalo going back across Vunaki with the bounce pass. Is that George Balsey? That is George Balsey. He's back up on his feet, ladies and gents. He kicks the ball dead. They will win this game, Fiji, 26 points to 19, but it's great to see George Balsey back up after that injury that he suffered earlier on in the game. It actually looked like it was going to be relatively serious. So it's fantastic to see him up and running around, but Fiji get themselves the bronze. They move up to 32 points total in the overall standings. And still a little bit can happen in terms of that movement. Like I mentioned, if South Africa manage to win the Cape Town Sevens, they will move up to the same points as Fiji and New Zealand heading into the next leg. And tough fella, says Big Rig and France lose again. Yeah, unfortunately for them, it seems like Fiji have become a little bit of their bogey team in recent times in terms of the closeness of those games. Andy Timo looking a little bit defeated at the moment. Now, last time these two sides played for bronze, I believe there was a bit of push and shove afterwards. Luckily, there's handshakes this time. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. We have got 8 minutes till that next live stream has taken place. And that one will be between New Zealand and Australia for the women's final. But I will see you all for the next one.